Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, or maybe even good afternoon, depending where you are in this world. This is the Wrestling Fans Incite. I'm your host, John Hoppe. I hope you're all doing well on this Sunday as we're enjoying some great weather here in Utah. Joined by one of my co-hosts, Bryan, the Hype Ballard, out there in Ohio. But Bryan, how are you, and how's the weather over there?
Oh, it's amazing. Everybody thinks it's summer, like we were talking previously to being on air. Almost swimming in all the lakes, but other than that, so things are good.
Great, great. Yeah, my brother William, he's actually sitting next to me, but yet I have not had time to install another camera. But you see his cute little picture there under our Wrestling Fans Incite logo in his hand. William, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm peachy, real peachy.
I would talk about the weather, but you already did that.
Yeah, it's really awesome lately. I can't say we should complain, even though we get hit with a little bit of snow here and there, but
it's weird running the air conditioner in early March.
It is.
William, did he give you a chair, or you have to sit on a stool in the corner, or what's the deal over there?
I'm on a chair.
No, William has his own chair. He bought his own chair for this podcast room, believe it or not.
He's making you stay in the corner. I was like, what's on there?
Hey, you know what? We're a little more separated than we were before, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So before the last time William was here, we had a completely different desk for our podcast station, and I still need to go get another computer, another camera. But William, me and him were so close to each other because it was an L-shaped desk, and we had very limited room, and we were squished like a sandwich. So I ended up buying a new desk, and we've got more room than we can ever imagine. So it's great. It'll be nice once we get his station set up and camera, and things will be golden here soon. So, but no, I really love this setup. How about you?
It's definitely more spacious. I will take it.
Yeah, we're not knocking knees or giving each other bro hugs, so that's good. But anywho, speaking of bro hugs, we'd like to give one to Carlos there because he just listened to our latest episode last night, and he's already drowning us with I knew you'd bring up the Jericho Cruise, talking about Danhausen. Well, yeah, you're welcome, Carlos. So, but anyways,
check that box again.
Yep. So, but right now, as we're recording this, he's probably, I believe he's doing the Queens Road with the Wrestle Collective. So, apologies why we couldn't make it there, Carlos. We hope to watch it here a little bit later. And it looks like Bryan's got a nice little tag team. Nice. I was always wondering if that was going to happen at some point. But that's pretty cool. I'm a cat lover myself, so
she's possessive.
But hey, this has been quite the week of wrestling. Lots of changes going on. We also had NXT PLE event, Vengeance Day, which was actually a pretty killer PLE for sure. And it's leading up some good stuff going into Stand and Deliver that will be happening a little bit earlier in April. I normally think it was happening during the week of WrestleMania, but looks like they're starting to separate that now. So I think that's probably one of the best moves they've done. Two, it kind of gets the two brands a little more separated from each other too, and not so overwhelming. But Bryan, last night NXT had their Vengeance Day. It was a really great event, and as you and I were talking off air before we came on air, let's get your thoughts overall on how you felt the PLE went.
Well, I was going to say I was thoroughly enjoying it. It felt very refreshing. As you guys know, it's not a product I watch all the time, right? As I call it, it's booty call NXT, right? I check in once in a while. This was one of those events where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tag in. I'm going to watch it. And it felt very refreshing. It felt exciting. I was like really into this show, and I was watching it, and I sat here and I was like, Shawn Michaels is doing a really good job. There's a lot of storytelling for each match, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It felt very 90s vibe-ish. And as I'm watching it, I'm getting into these characters and these matches. And, obviously tagging in, watching this. And then right as we get all the way up to about the point of where Zarya is in that whole match, Peacock does me wrong and it blips out on me. And then so I get all the way up to that point, and then all of a sudden I get the Peacock error, not an internet error. And so they pushed me out of the card. So at that point, so I was a little annoyed at them during that. So I'm going to have to go back and search through their many menus and try to, because I believe we were talking prior to the air. I guess that happened to a lot of people last night as well.
It did. And, unfortunately, it is what it is. I don't think it was intentional by Peacock, but you can tell with the deal expiring here as of April 1st, which is, less than, 30 days. Well, about 20. What day are we on? The 8th? Yeah, we're 22 days, or not 22, 24 days away from pretty much WWE's deal being done with Peacock. I'm not sure, is Saturday night's main event still supposed to air on Peacock when they host those events?
I believe they so I know they are currently. I'm not sure when this deal's up. I know that it's going to be interesting because Saturday night's main event was an NBC Universal product that was co-ventured with WWE even back in the day. So if it doesn't stay there, I don't know where this goes because NBC owns the right to Saturday night's main events, at least back in the day. They own all that. They paid for it. It's theirs. So that's the $1 million question for me. The newer ones, I don't know where that partnership, who owns what ultimately, but I do know the old ones were NBC Universals. And so I would think by rights, Peacock still retains the rights to the Legacy collection. That would be my guess.
Okay. Well, hopefully, if anybody knows, please definitely let us know, whether it's DM, in the comments on our YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, by the way, I forgot to mention, as you're watching this, we're probably already done with the recording anyway. You'll be seeing this live on my X account at WFI Pod, and also the Fans of Pro Wrestling Network account on X, and also on our YouTube channel at Wrestling Fans Incite. But to go back to NXT Vengeance Day, and before we go to William, I'm just going to give the results. Sorry if it's a spoiler for some of you who didn't watch yet, but that's our deal. So first we had the opening street fight with Blake Monroe getting the victory over Jada Parker. I thought both of these ladies really killed it. And then in the second match, we had Tony D'Angelo just getting bittersweet revenge on the final member of Dark State, Dion Lennox. Tatum Paxley becomes the new women's North American champion, getting her revenge on Izzy Dame. Then we had Kalani Jordan falling short to Lola Vice. Flat out, she got her ass knocked out, as Vic Joseph said, in the NXT Underground match. And just before we went to the main event, Robert Stone pretty much made it clear that a week from this Tuesday, we are going to see a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Champion JC Jane will now be defending against Zarya and Sol Ruka. This one is going to be a great match. Make sure you're tuned a week from Tuesday on NXT on the CW network. And last but not least, for the NXT Championship in the main event, Joe Hendry, you got to believe in him because he's retained over Ricky Saints. And that was with little to no help from also Ethan Page. So now, William, after I gave those results out, I know you haven't really had time to watch it, but reading those results, let's hear your thoughts.
I think that they did a perfect job on this one. Honestly, I will be going back to watch it, but I've been telling you guys about how NXT has been doing for quite some time. And I think they pulled off the perfect match endings for this at the right time because it's not right next to WrestleMania. It's got enough time to continue to build. Nobody came out of this looking weak.
No. And, some of the grades, there was only one grade I disagreed with Bleacher Report, and that was definitely on the Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame match, because that was,
I couldn't believe they gave that a C-.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, and I know a lot of more of the pro wrestling fan side of the IWC will disagree with us saying that we call the BS on it, but no, I call BS. I mean, there may be a couple of spots, but it didn't take away from how the entire match went, how it looked. I thought it was great storytelling. And, watching Tatum get that sweet revenge victory over Izzy Dam, I thought it was killer. Might have been just a little overbooked with Spears. And I can't remember his tag team partner's name. I want to say Vice or something like that. But, yeah, I just disappointed with Bleacher Report on some of their grades as of late with a lot of these programmings. But again, a lot of great stuff going on. We're really going to wait to see how this builds to stand and deliver for sure. But Brian, as far as we already heard your overall thoughts, was there anything you could say maybe could have been done better as far as how that card went?
Yeah. And then, one of the thoughts on Bleacher Report, you're always getting different people covering those articles, right? So I always kind of say Bleacher Report is the IWC report. You could get a lot of different just variants of people that, I always kind of say you're kind of getting the Twitter report in a way, not always, but you're always just getting necessarily a variance of people and different article writers for there. So, they're not always the most consistent. I do enjoy their work though. So Blake Monroe, actually I enjoyed all the matches. I will say that the ones that I could see, I enjoyed them all. I thought they were cooking on this card and I was like really excited to get like all the way through here. Blake Monroe is one of those people that, when she came over from AEW, I thought that they just she's not as popular or something has been missing from her. Because I thought AEW just with her and Tony Storm, that just nothing, they did it so well over there. And when they had to change her name and character and everything, and, it just, I don't know, there was something that just wasn't like as exciting there. And so I feel like they're slowly trying to like build that back up with her. And, but I enjoyed the work they're doing. And I'm glad they didn't just put her on the main roster. And that they, are trying to work on the little things with her. I can see her doing some cool things on the main card someday. She's got to find the right dance partner. And I don't know who that maybe it's a Charlotte Flair. Maybe it's somebody that she just goes to town on, just like she did with Tony Storm, and kind of just goes after the big dog. Tony D'Angelo is always going to be somebody I'm going to start catching, paying more attention to. And this was due to a few years ago, somebody, Chris, my buddy, who definitely would be in the know on things, told me that the WWE was very high on this guy. They said they're very big on him. They like him. And I was like the mafia guy, and I kind of was like, kind of saying, okay. And I kind of watched, but now that I've seen this kind of rebrand they've done with him, grew his hair out a little more, and kind of seeing this new look. And I'm like, interesting. And so it kind of lines up with what he told me. And I can see them kind of testing things out with him. So I'm kind of paying attention more to him to see how could he expand himself as a wrestler. And I'm trying to see, I could see him in like an upper mid card type thing, someday. And I just want to see what he can do. I want to see what his real talent is outside of a gimmick. Right. And so, a lot of NXT talent, they give him a gimmick, right? Alexa Bliss was a Tinkerbell type gimmick at one point, right? There was dancing, wearing the green shoes, dancing Becky Lynch, like they give them these ridiculous gimmicks and then they almost want to see if they can survive the gimmick. That's phase one. And then it's like, then they give them something real to work with. And then that next evolution sometimes is, then getting to the main card. So I'm kind of intrigued by Tony D'Angelo now, and I want to see what happens as they go forward. Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame. I thought it was a fine match. I agree with you guys. I don't think it was a C minus. C minus means, it was average or could be even worse, right? And I don't think it was close to being a below par. And then the matches I wanted to see, I didn't get to see. I like Lola Vice. I love the whole NXT Underground thing. I love the concept. I love the idea. You know me, I'm an MMA guy anyway. So anything that we can blend in, that gives me the tap out talk aspect, right? So I'm like, yeah, bring on Lola Vice, bring on Underground. And then it was right before it. I was like, no. And so when Peacock, kicked me out of it, I was like, all right, great. But I like Lola Vice and I like her dominant, and it gives her a dominant gimmick that I enjoy watching NXT. And I love that they can give her an identity and a character around that. So I like that aspect. And then Joe Hendry, right? I like his work there, and I didn't get to see that, of course, but Ricky Saints seems to do pretty good work as well. So I think those two probably did have a good match. Was that what would you say is the best match on the card for Will and John? Like, what do you guys think was the best overall?
Hard for you to say because you didn't watch it, right?
Right.
All right. If I was to really say what the killer match of the night, I would definitely say Tony D and Dion Lennox. Okay. And the very close second would definitely be Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice.
Okay.
I thought both those matches were the top two. Kind of, I could say almost kind of seesaw who was actually the top match between those two. But those were the most entertaining. But as you mentioned earlier, Brian, this card wasn't short of anything that you could say anything bad about. I mean, NXT's really starting to crank it up with the chaos going, because Shawn Michaels mentioned it. I love the chaos going on. Let's keep it going. And I think that's bringing some more eyes back to the NXT programming, and I really hope they continue, because we also get those unexpected stuff. Nobody would have thought Vanity Project was going to win the NXT Tag Team Champions, for crying out loud. I mean, probably more than anything, I bet most of the IWC wasn't even expecting Tatum Paxley to win that North American Championship from Izzy Dame. So, we have a few surprise elements coming into play, and I think standing to deliver, I think they're going to turn the notch up even more when it gets closer to the card.
Yeah, and something I want to applaud NXT for as well is they do a really good job of blending not just the in-ring action, but with the backstage segments and the interviews. And it's something that I just used to love about wrestling, and you don't get bored watching it. And it's not just too much of one thing. So it's great for somebody that doesn't really watch it all the time. You can just watch and you get the idea of what's going on, and you can say, yeah, I like that character, or yeah, I like that. Or if you haven't seen it in a while, you can say, well, if you are familiar with Lola Vice, you can say, you know what? Yeah, let me check in and see what's going on with her. Or if you are familiar with, when Nova Femi was there, or whoever, you can check in with people you haven't checked in with a while. And I really appreciate that just format. And I wish they would carry that into the main roster to try to, give some of these guys a little bit of an identity, during the shows. So I honestly appreciated it. And I'll probably obviously be checking in a little more on the PLEs with them.
All right. Now, speaking of PLEs, some other changes going on. For those of you who watch Friday Night SmackDown, we had a bit of a change after Nick Aldis made the championship match official. After the Elimination Chamber, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, becomes 3-time WWE champion. Now again, changing the main event for WrestleMania. Cody will be defending the WWE Championship against his best friend, ally, possibly soon to be bigger enemy, Randy Orton. And this is going to be kind of a interesting situation, because you never know what's going to happen when Randy Orton wrestles a match. Is he going to go into the inner Viper, or is he going to wrestle as a true good sport? William, now that we've seen that change, what's your thoughts?
Well, originally you guys stated that you thought that it would turn into a triple threat. It still could, but I'm leaning more towards, I kind of see Drew coming in and interfering, screwing things up, and continuing a new feud.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to double that narrative. Since they chose to put this right back on Cody, I do think Drew could now spin off with a Jacob Fatu. You could still do a four-way, and you could, it would be easy to do that, and it would be easy for a fatal four-way. Fatu could easily take a pinfall, and it wouldn't necessarily hurt especially with a multi-man team up on him, and it would still make him look strong by trying to basically get beat by 4 guys and then somebody getting a pin. So wouldn't count that out, but this is a WrestleMania main event of a night worthy of being a main event of WrestleMania. So, and right now you got to sell the sizzle and not the steak. And they have been lacking a main event for one of their nights. And, you know, I think this is it. And I think right now with those lower ticket sales and everything, I'm not really mad at this because at the end of the day, it makes a lot of sense. There's deep rooted history in Cody and Randy Orton. There's the legacy vibes. There's so much promos that can be done. And I trust these 2 guys to do those promos and do that work. And those guys can put a lot of psychology into their matches, and they can put a lot into the ring with the storytelling. So I think we could get a very old school WrestleMania type matchup with some stories on this longer road to WrestleMania. I think we could get a lot of fun weeks build up between these 2. And it's that pupil mentor type mentality and matchup. What I would love to see in the coming weeks is let's get some, you know, former members of Legacy to make some appearances, right? I don't know which ones, Ted DiBiase Jr. around, or, you know, can we just get some one-offs? Can we get some appearances of former members like that? On a Sim Snuka around, you know, like those kind of people. Can we just get those different ones just to help enhance this story a little bit longer and just to kind of remind us? I don't want them to stay around, but I just want them to add a little fuel to the fire to be burned for Mania. So,
yeah, not to let the cat out of the bag, if many of you don't know, Drew McIntyre is actually set to go do some recording in the new Highlander. I'm not sure if it's a series or the movie, but with that being said, that makes sense why Cody ended up winning the championship. And with Jacob Fatu being one of the factors in that main event on SmackDown, it pretty much goes to show, I think we're going to see the direction Drew and Jacob Fatu will be on the WrestleMania card. If not, definitely before the WrestleMania card. I would think, though, they would want to have that match, though, on the biggest stage of sports entertainment, though. So with that being said, Cody, I like your idea of getting Legacy somehow into the mix of the storyline. Not sure if we'll quite see it, especially with some of the negativity with Ted DiBiase Jr. On the personal side, but who knows? WWE went for the first time they pulled something off like that, and if they do, then kudos to them, because hopefully they'll help out his situation as he's facing on the outside of the wrestling world. But now that
he does have a legacy, he does have a contract.
Does he?
You know, he does have a legacy contract still.
The Ted DiBiase Jr.
Senior.
Oh, senior does, but
yeah,
junior.
Not who you were saying has issues.
Yeah. No, actually, it's both of them, I believe. But senior's not as much in the deep end as junior is.
Yeah,
junior got really way deep in it, and I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know what all are the facts on it. So I just know he's definitely suffered a little bit of a low blow since being out of the wrestling scene. But so far for our updated WrestleMania card, we got Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. We'll have Jade Cargill defending the WWE Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship will be defended by CM Punk against the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Yes, Carolina, I said Tribal Chief. And I'll get into that later at the end of shoutouts. And we also have for the WWE Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vaquer defending against Liv Morgan. And some more matches will come into play. I really hope that the new women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, will be making some kind of defense on one of those 2 nights. I'm sure we'll see the Usos be defending the World Tag Team Championships, as well as eventually somebody's going to be defending the WWE Tag Team Championships as well. Mid-card titles, I don't know. Some of them didn't quite make it on last year, but I hope they do. mean, really, WrestleMania is the event to showcase your champions, and I really hope we get all of them on there. But I can understand if some of them don't quite make it either. But now that we kind of see the clear path of the 2 of the 4 matches, Brian, where this has changed things a little bit, especially now with Drew and Jacob Fatu possibly in the fold. What would you like to see
Added to Mania?
Yes.
Okay. You could always throw the Andre Battle Royal in there, right? If you want to get everybody on the card. I never hated it. I know some people didn't care for it, but I actually like Mania, and we're at a point where it's 2 nights, so you have to get people on the, you know, you need things and you need attractions. You know, this year, I know, did you mention Rhea and Jade Cargill?
Yes.
On there? Yeah. I'm trying to think what else we got boiling. You know, they have not announced Oba or Brock yet, or the Brock Open Challenge yet, have they officially? They haven't announced the opponent yet, right?
Not yet.
I want it to be Oba, but you know, I want Oba to smash him because if it is Oba, I don't want Oba to lose. I think that would be very detrimental to him. So you either got to go all in like you did with Summer of Brock. That's really what I want to see. But if you're not going to go that route, I think Gunther, you know, I would have loved to see Gunther and Brock as well. So, but Gunther needs to also get a win at Mania. So it's, you know, kind of those guys. So that's really kind of what I overall want to see added. I want to definitely see, you know, Gunther or Brock being added into that card very strongly in strong matches. I still think something's going to happen on Monday, 3/16 with Austin. I think he's going to be involved in Mania somehow. I think there's going to be an announcement of that. And it doesn't mean he's wrestling. I just think there's going to be an appearance on Monday. And I think it's going to be even if he's a host or, you know, a special enforcer or something, but we got to have something for him to enforce. So,
William, is there anything you would like to see added to WrestleMania?
I agree with Bryan about Gunther versus Brock. I think that would be smashing. The other match I would like to see is I'd like to see Julia.
And who would you want to see her defend the Women's United States Championship?
Sure do, because we haven't seen a whole lot of that.
No,
It's kind of been dropped.
It's really sad that we made mid-card championships for the women, but we're not defending them on the TV, which is why there's mid-card championships.
Yep.
You know, it's really sad we see the big world champions more than we see the mid-carders, because those are supposed to be the workhorses of the company, and that's very frustrating. But now that you mentioned you'd like to see Julia make a defense, who would you put her up against?
Put her up against somebody strong that deserves to be in WrestleMania, somebody like a Becky Lynch, somebody like a Charlotte Flair.
Okay. Any others come to mind, or just?
Oh, there's lots. Like
Okay.
I'd love to see some comebacks on WrestleMania.
Yeah, same here. I definitely would. I think at some point, like Brian mentioned, if we don't get Brock versus Oba, definitely would love to see Brock and Gunther. But we've also been seeing good Lord. I'm stuck in AEW land. Sorry, folks. I would like to see Rusev and Oba get a match then, if that's going to not happen between Oba and Brock. So I think that would be a fun, nice, big brute match to have happen right there. 2 big guys going at it.
no, I like that idea a lot. I could see him pushing up out of the Acolyte. I would love to see that. That would be a strong way to really put him over on that.
I think so. I mean, because even though he doesn't have very many championships, Rusev is a very solid brute guy, and to get a victory over him, I mean, even though he doesn't have the championships, he's established, so we know he's not a force to reckon with.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up, because to your point, I know he's kind of a weaker version of Rusev now, but this is a WrestleMania crowd, and there's those people that know him as Rusev at WrestleMania. This is a guy that fought John Cena in their world. I mean, this is a guy that was on the same level as John Cena in their world. So those casual people, they're going to say, that's the guy that fought John Cena years ago and came out in a tank, and they're going to remember that. And then they're going to see this Obafemi guy do like a push-up out of his finisher, and so you're going to hit a lot of casual people with that. I like your idea there, John.
Yeah, and I think it would be nice exposure for Obafemi too. So, because I mean, this guy, I see him being world champion within the next 2 to 3 years here shortly. I mean, this guy, he proved he can handle it with NXT. Having his match with Cody Rhodes on Saturday night's main event, Oba's more than ready to be on this main roster level to start being very dominant.
Yeah. It's something we forget. We do in this time of the year have to book for those casual fans. And we all forget it because we talk about it every week, right? And we're like, oh, he's went downhill. But you just made me realize that. I was like, we do have to book for those fans. In their minds, Rusev's Rusev, So it's a good point.
All right. Yeah, and we're just going to take a little break here as we want to mention you can follow us on the X app. You can follow me at WFI Pod, or as I administer the Fans of Pro Wrestling Network, you can follow me there as well at FOPW Network. William?
At William Hoppe 8.
And Brian?
At the Brian Adkins on Twitter X.
Nice DX moment there for you, Brian. And be sure to check out and participate in our X community for the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Just go under the FOPW Network account or even mine, WFI Pod. I believe Carlos has now highlighted the community as well under his account, C to the OS 77. Just go in there, make a request. As long as we don't see anything goofy in your timeline, we'll be sure to authorize you to join our group there. And also join us for the X Spaces during the week with the Raw reactions with Carlos on Mondays shortly after Raw, and Wednesday Night Chaos shortly after AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays. Just go check out Carlos's account since he's the one that hosted it at C to the OS 77 or his nonprofit at Conquer the No. And I still got to get this changed, but sometimes he will do it under the cross brand under the Wrestle Collective, and you can follow their account at DUBC Worldwide.
And John, you recently hosted and NWO took over his show, right? On last Monday?
Actually, I didn't do squat because we were having such technical difficulties, unfortunately, which is why I'm not much of a fan of X Spaces, but, every once in a while I pop on. I actually joined Wager Wire space last night talking some old school wrestling, and that was very fun with that group. Love the Wager Wire family there. Carolina, Billy, Rosie Blue Eye, Amber Holly, James McMahon, Lions. Can't really name everyone. Adam. Yeah, the list is so long because that group has gotten so big. But Brian, you also have your Tap Out Talk on YouTube.
I do, and it hasn't been invaded by the Hoppe World Order yet. So, but it has a little bit with some different things we've done, interviews with Layla and Tito over the year. But at Tap Out Talk on YouTube, you guys can catch on there and on Spotify and on TikTok. Every once in a while, I'll do little uploads there.
And Brian and I are still working on some more interviews coming up here shortly, so keep tuned. And we also have a group chat on the X for the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Just get with me, Carlos, or Brian on how to join. So, that was a mouthful. Now we got another fun pay-per-view coming up next Sunday, March 15th they're saying 7 p.m. Eastern time is the start. I don't know if that's the main card or if the actual 0 hour, the pre-card, is airing at 7 p.m. Eastern. I know most of the time it's been 4, or not 4. It's usually been like 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So kind of keep tuned. Make sure you double check those times. Don't screw it up like I did one time where they had a pay-per-view event in Australia or England, and it started much earlier, and we were recording, and we didn't realize it was already going. That was my bad. So, but yeah, we've got the AEW Revolution card coming up, and there's quite a bit going on in that one. And I'm gonna bring it up right now. I apparently closed my window on that, folks. I'm sorry, but we have lots of great action going on. Please make sure you keep tuned to AEW this week with Dynamite and Collision, as more matches will be getting added, I'm sure, because the one thing I will tell you, AEW does give you your money's worth for these pay-per-views. And without any further ado, here we go. And I'm sorry I don't have my reading glasses because it shines too much on the camera.
There's probably 20 matches on this card, if not 30, right?
Well, the first match I'm looking at looks like 20 matches, but it's in one. The AEW National Championship will be on the line in a 21 Blackjack Battle Royal. Ricochet will be defending against a bunch of question marks on my screen, meaning anybody could be in there. So who knows what's going to take place. Excuse me, folks. I better grab a drink here.
Well, I can tell you who will not be on this one. Hornswoggle will not be on this card. He is going to be activating his general manager duties, I'm sure. So who else you guys will think will be on there, John?
Well, actually, I'm looking at for sure who's going to be on here. But in a singles match, Tony Storm will finally get another shot at Marina Shafir in a singles match here. And there's a stipulation that everyone is banned from ringside for this particular match because they just don't want any more shenanigans. Let's see what these two ladies can do on their own. I think this is the right time for Marina Shafir to shine and start getting her AEW legacy going. In another grudge match, we have Swerve Strickland taking on Brody King. Brody King definitely want to get himself back into the rankings for the AEW World Championship, especially being so close to defeating MJF recently, but just came up a little short. However, Swerve Strickland's got a lot to prove, as he's proven he's back to being the most dangerous man in AEW. Another grudge match, we have Andrade El Idolo that's going to take on the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. This is not for the Ring of Honor World Championship as of yet. I expect that it will not be a championship match at all. For the AEW World Trios title match, the Don Callis family, the new Trios champion. If you were sleeping under a rock or hiding in the closet, yes, they defeated the Jet Speed Rodeo. That was the team of Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. They will be defending the Trios Championship against Jet Speed and Mystico. And the reason for Hangman not being in that team anymore, obviously in the main event, we'll get to that later. The AEW World Tag Team Championship, FTR will be defending against the Young Bucks. The AEW Continental Championship is going to be a no time limit, as champion Jon Moxley will be defending against Konosuke Takeshita. And this time there will be a winner. The AEW Women's World Championship will be a best 2 out of 3 falls match, which we haven't seen one of those in quite some time. But Tekla, the Toxic Spider Tekla, will be taking on everyone's favorite alien, Chris Statlander. And in the main event, the AEW World Championship, the champion MJF will be defending against Hangman Adam Page. Woo, what a card going on here. And William, how you liking this card so far?
It seems like it's going to be chaos, but I mean, they've built up enough, and I think they actually did a proper build on this. I don't know if the advertisement was quite as good as it should have been, but the build up in the ring was really good. I'm especially looking forward to what they're going to do with Swerve, because taking him back to being, the most dangerous man, that big heel, there's a lot of avenues they can travel with that.
And I'm really hoping they'll get the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship on here. And I know everyone's tired of seeing it, but seeing this particular lady in the match, but I think the team of Megan Bain and Lena Cross should be challenging the Babes of Wrath for these tag team championship. Do you agree?
Yep.
All right. So Bryan announcing these matches, and I hope you got all of that. If not, I can always repeat it again. What's your thoughts on this AEW Revolution card coming up next week?
It looks exciting. I'm excited for quite a bit of those. Ricochet, I'm interested because of how many mystery people are there. Who's going to shock him, right? There's going to be some shock factor, I'd like to think, that's going to give him that big eyes, oh moment, right? MJF and Hangman Adam Page, I think that's a good, worthy main event. MJF is just gold in anything he touches.
And sorry to interrupt you. I forgot to mention one thing about that match. In this match, if Hangman Adam Page does not win the AEW World Championship, he will not be able to challenge for that championship anymore.
Oh, they ruined it right there. Now I'm not excited. I'm not excited anymore. I hate stipulations like that, actually. Just because he's going all Cody Rhodes, right? In AEW, they do that, but I think it limits your booking, right? So, and then all of a sudden, he's too young of a champion to be losing in a stipulation like that. So, he's probably got something up his sleeve to be that confident. So, I don't think they're going to take the title off of him anyway. But if so, there's got to be some kind of stipulation. But the tag match looks good. Andrade versus Bandito. I mean, that's an exciting, lucha style match. I mean, they just got a little something for everybody in that card. So you got some women's match in there. A couple of them actually mixed in with Tekla, with Tony Storm. So, I mean, it's a pretty solid card all around. I'm looking at everything. Did you, Big Boom AJ versus to be announced? I think that's going to be in there in the card I'm looking at. I mean, that's always kind of for me. That might be on the 0 hour, but yeah, overall, Swerve Strickland, I am excited to see what they do with him. I recently picked up a pair of his shoes. I was at the mall. I found a pair of his custom shoes, his Reebok shoes, and it was like in the clearance area, and I yanked those up and they were in my size, and I yanked them up so quick. And I was like, sweet. So I actually have a pair. I'm kind of a sneakerhead. So definitely grabbed a pair of those. They're in my display. So, but yeah, looks like an exciting, fun card.
And I kind of want to touch base on that where you, after I just told you about the stipulation in that AEW World Championship match, I agree with you. MJF is too young of being the newly crowned AEW World Champion. However, if they do put that championship on Hangman Adam Page, I have the weird feeling we're going to end up seeing Swerve Strickland get the victory over Brody King, and Swerve Strickland might be the factor defeating Hangman for that championship. I'm not a fan of short title reigns because I think your world champion should always look good, especially when it's supposed to be the major prize in the company.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it past AEW if that's the route they're going to go. And I can't really say MJF's ever been a crappy champion either, because he's already defended that championship quite a bit, believe it or not. He's actually even defended it outside the company and still retained it. So,
yeah.
But I think that would be the direction they're going to go.
And see, I would rather them let Swerve beat MJF. I would rather them do that in the future. I hate putting such a stipulation on him to where he can never be in a title match. He's the best that you have in that company, my opinion.
Right. And I think that was a mess when they had Cody do that when the company first started. Yeah. I just like you said, don't limit the booking on someone and then you're going to regret it later. And I think that's what's going to happen here, unless we're seeing Hangman move on in the future here, which I doubt. So, but William, your thoughts as far as how that direction is going to go?
Not really. Just kind of curious to see what they're cooking. This is one of those ones that I would call just purely a fan's pay-per-view.
All right. If you were willing to add any more matches to the card, what would you like to see?
Honestly, I'd like to see Jack Perry doing something with a singles match.
And see, I have a feeling like Bryan mentioned that shock factor for Ricochet. I think it might be Jack Perry who may defeat Ricochet in that
It
that
could,
in
could
that
be.
casino match there.
Could be. It's not going to be X-Pac.
Wow. Anyways, I can't believe you went there.
I did.
You did. You did. So
It's going to be CM Punk. He's going to come out there, cut a promo, throw away his Mania event, spot.
and make sure to tell him it's real.
Reveal an AEW shirt. He swerved them all.
Yeah. Bryan and his wild thoughts and getting us in trouble with cross promoting. But anyhow, yeah, this is interesting. We actually got this all done under an hour, and with a lot of coming up, there wasn't as much to talk about like last week, but it was awesome. But anyways, why don't we just go ahead and get into our final thoughts and shout outs? We'll start with William.
As always, just thank you to our listeners, anybody who's paying attention to us. We know that's not something you have to do. Thank you.
No, well, that was short and sweet. Bryan, let's get your final thoughts and shout outs.
Yep. Thank you, Carlos, Ted, Hillbilly Heel, Wrestling Collective, Give 'em the Pickle podcast. Thank you, guys. And I'll turn it back over to John.
Son of a bitch. Really? I cannot believe he said that.
Did it.
No, I'm going to be nice. No. In a Pickle podcast, by the way. Sorry, I'm getting dry throated, but first and
Stand in the
foremost,
pickle or give him the pickle.
yeah, no. Anyways, again, I'd like to thank the Wager Wire family for letting me come on their weekend wrap-up show last night. They do them every Saturday and Sunday. Definitely go check them out. But they also have lots of other great spaces on the X platform. So be sure to go follow them at Wager Wire on the X app. Go check them out. Lots of great conversation from baseball to hockey, basketball, football, pro and college, hockey. I think I mentioned hockey already, but I can't remember. I mean, if there's a sport, they talk about it. And obviously, lately, they've been doing some boxing and pro wrestling. So I was glad to be a part of their space and talk some great past moments in wrestling history. Also, shout out to our normal folks, Fan in the Van podcast, Two Dudes Sports News, Steel and Teal Talk, Brutally Honest Sports, In a Pickle Pod, Nate's Daily Wager, Average Joe Sports, Visit Vegas Places with Coil, and also, like Bryan mentioned, our favorite friend, Ted the Hillbilly Hill. Always great to talk to him once in a while. I need to do a better job communicating with him, but go check out his stuff on YouTube. He does some shorts on there, Ted's Takes on Wrestling. And also be sure to go check out our friends there again at the Wrestle Collective at Dub C Worldwide. Lots of great content from them, from X Spaces to YouTube to Discord. They've got almost everything and anything going on over there. And also be sure to go check out the DWE community, Final Boss Lady, Miami the Gray, AVP CJ, and also After the Bell podcast. Lots of great stuff coming from those guys as well. And now that I finally said it, my final thoughts are, and I know Carlos told me to ignore it, but I'm not. I'm going to get to it. If you go in my DMs and crap on the way some of us run our programs, I'm just going to tell you, there's always the option to don't listen to us if you don't like what we do on our programs. It's our shows. We're going to do what we want. If you don't like it, move on. Block us, get rid of us. We don't care. I'm just proud of that we do have people that take the time to listen to us, even though most of the time it's just me rambling nonsense. But we always get the great insights from Bryan and William. Every once in a while from Carlos. He's such a good monkey over there. But no, we really do appreciate, even if it's just one listener. God bless you from the hundreds of listeners we've had at many a time. So we do always appreciate you tuning in. We hope to catch you again here in a couple weeks. We more than likely won't be doing a recording with AEW Revolution going on next Sunday. So William and I will be planning to return here on the 22nd, I believe. And I think Bryan is going to be out, as he's told us off air. So good old times, me and you together again, just us. So, but with that being said, thank you to each and every one of you. We'll catch you here in 2 weeks. Take care, all.